Okay, I don't know if this is 4 or 5 today. Now I'm gonna give you, those of you that are now watching this, to get on record what I've been talking about, whether I'm making these things up or not. The friend that was assaulted by an officer at the CCPD, which was not an arrest, his name is Shannon Case. So the record is, for future reference, if you think John is making things up, you talk to my friend Shannon Case, and you make sure that you have that officer under oath. And it was an assault that took place at Stripes on Flower Bluff Drive off SPID, maybe 13, 15 years ago. But that assault took place by a CCPD officer, and it was a targeted assault. And it was done because Mr. Case did not have drug paraphernalia on him, and the officer was pissed off. And according to character, like my Christian lady friend told me, he has a history of taking off his uniform, going back to the house, and then putting on his civilian clothes, meaning he feels like that's acceptable because he's not in uniform, and then targeting, assault and battery on individuals. And then later, he went to the hospital. When he got out of the hospital, they realized it was that officer. And the supervisor told my friend Shannon Case, whoever that, it might have been Markle, he was not chief at the time, but he said, we promise he'll never lay a hand on you again. I found it fucking astounding that the supervisors knew that this was a regular thing going on in that city. And there was zero accountability. And in some of my experiences that I tried to deal with right, I realized that fucking officer tried to run me off the road one day, reported that. Then I began to realize that's the way they do. There's no accountability. And when I wrote letters about that and said, you gotta be fucking kidding me, you got this cop doing this? And then I realized, yes, we do have that cop doing that. And then I realized he does it with, all I can imagine is that's the way they roll. That's all I can imagine. So that's the Shannon Case one. John, what about the one that you've mentioned multiple times? That's my friend Jesse, Angel Hanley's husband. And he recounted a few times. These are just a few. That officer seen him in an alley drunk one night, or probably drunk, and kind of tapped him with the cop car. That is enough for you to be off the fucking department. But hit him from behind, and Jesse fell down the one day, and then pulled out a baggie. The cop said, look what I found on you. Planted Xanax, he did 2 years in prison. That's Jesse. He manages this office's rental properties in Flower Bluff, Texas. And I did Bible studies there. I believe it's 918 West Lakeside. Now, these are a few. But what I began to realize, because I got targeted later on by that man. Then I said, oh, they do it. So this is a standard procedure with the Corpus Christi Police Department. That's what I understood. Some of you younger rookies might not be aware of that. This is for the fucking record. So Jesse lives at 918 West Lakeside, and I have reported this thing. They might have verified this by now, but feeling like, well, if Jesse don't want to press charges, no, as soon as you verify that you have an officer that did that on a regular basis, you fire that officer. You don't wait for the citizens to press charges. That's what amazes me about the other cases I mentioned. That you can have in the CCPD, not all of them, but you can have officers with a history or a record of felonies. It's just, they've never been. Some of the reasons they've not been charged is because the people that made the complaints, I have other friends that did indeed go to internal affairs or whatever, and right after the complaint, these friends told me, John, we get the shit beat out of us by the officers after the complaint. I thought, you got to be fucking kidding me. This is many years out there. So those that might misread and say John's just off, this has been so many fucking years. And I know many of you have felt maybe John will leave. I told you on the last video why I didn't leave. She had the fucking gall to target one of my kids. Even some of my street friends, when they saw that one, they were mad. Because there's like a rule on the street. You don't target families, okay? People on the street that have criminal backgrounds, there's a rule. You don't target families. So some of my street friends, when they saw that one, I did make it up because I actually had to call the leadership of that entity and went down, spoke to that entity. So don't, this is for the record. And the normal people that are getting brutalized, harassed, that are living in the city by this element, this rogue element in the CCPD, the normal way with CCPD and this rogue element, what they do is they begin to do an organized, it's called oppression or harassment, and they understand how that works. They'll park by your house, they'll do things of that nature. All of these things are considered illegal in other municipalities. And I'm assuming they laugh when they realize, yep, so-and-so's at it again. And I have not looked for them. You said, John, you came back from your trip looking for this. Let me tell you, I don't know how many times you guys, CCPD, have approached me since I've been back. You say, John, we have no illegal activity, no warrants, no reason. I don't know how many times you guys have approached me. You say, John, none of our approaches, none of them were real bad. But that's the way it works. Meaning, they'll let the individual that they target know we're going to be around you day and night. And if we see you in public, we're just, and it might be a legal thing to keep approaching citizens. But when you know who they are, see, it's legal to say, show me ID, show me it. But in targeted approaches, things, every day types of things. So they know how to do that. I don't believe in my generation that the corruption will be rooted out of the Corpus Christi Police Department. Because these rogue elements, these few, are still there. And if multiple assaults happened over many years, the way they dealt with that is, oh, you beat that person up of this one or that one, we told you not to do. That's how they've been dealing with that. And in some cases, maybe it's permitted. And that just sets me off to know that that's something that a lot of the citizens in that city, you don't consider the homeless citizens. You don't consider them citizens. But they have every legal right to protection as anybody else. And you seem to think that it was acceptable to carry out these types of things. There should be a civil rights investigation on that Corpus Christi Police Department because of the abuses of the homeless. We have laws against the abuse of the elderly. We have laws against the abuse of minorities. But you don't have against the homeless. But they're citizens. So I have you have the names I gave you multiple times. And whether or not those people are too afraid to testify or because they feel like, because that's how harassment works. When people are multiple times been assaulted by officers, they learn to shut up. It's almost like a domestic violence situation. A lot of women that are beaten many times from partners, they learn to kind of like live with that. And you have that going on. There should have been an immediate, even if you're not going to press charges against those officers, you realize, it's time for you to retire. And some of them, they're financially well off. No. Not only are they not going to retire, they're going to keep doing what they do. So that's the names I gave you. They'll testify. At least I know one of them will. The other one I don't know. Because they're afraid. They've been intimidated. And that's what you have in that city. That's what you have in that city.